So we want about a dozen of these eggs for your frittata, right?
Exactly, yeah. And we're just going to just lightly whip these. And in the pan here, I've got some sausage going, as you can see.
Did you make
Getting
that
nice
yourself?
crispy.
That looks good.
I have a good friend of mine that makes this for me.
All right, now, do we want to put these in?
Yeah, let's get a little bit hotter.
All right. It's really important, I think, when I make a frittata, you don't want to whip too much air into the eggs, otherwise it's going to be too dry. So we want to keep the frittata pretty moist, don't we?
Yeah, you just keep, right, if you whip it, it's actually going to create a dryness.
There's too much air in the eggs.
Right, right. And this is just whole eggs ready to go.
In it goes.
Super.
Looks good already.
Second goes in. See, I like to get that nice and hot with that bubbling around the edges there.
And now we're going to add your veggies pretty soon.
Little veggies.
What kind of veggies are we using?
Well, actually, this is leftover pasta.
A man after my own heart.
What is it about leftovers? I love leftovers.
I
love using leftovers. These are pappardelle noodles.
So you had those yesterday. Wonderful.
Right.
The pappardelle is a wide noodle.
This has potato, zucchini, basil, and tomato.
Isn't that beautiful? See how creative you can be with leftovers. Now, are we going to give this any kind of spices, any herbs or anything?
Yeah, give it some, actually, I want to throw in a little bit of ricotta.
This is looking good.
Just
now, you know,
dollops of ricotta in there.
So you want fresh ricotta.
I'm going to chop up a little fresh basil here. You can see the
just
basil.
dollops.
Just little dollops. And just sort of let that
melt into it,
melt into it and stir as we go.
Okay.
You see a nice gentle simmer around the outside.
Yes.
Some fresh basil. You can see it starting to form on the sides.
Yes,
In order to allow that to cook a little bit more, I just break it around the side.
You break it up. See, this is another version of doing frittata. I kind of let mine just be very nice, neat, and tidy. But this is interesting. I like this version a lot. You really got a lot of these ideas from your Calabrian grandmother, didn't you?
You know, everybody asks me, where did you learn to cook? Where did you learn your style of cooking? And to this day, I still credit my grandmother and hanging out when I was this little. Just watching her in the kitchen. There was no one allowed in the kitchen at that time. It was like kids, you know, most of the adults had to stay out of the kitchen because that was a sacred place, I guess. I don't know.
Yes.
And so I would go in and watch her, and she'd feed me little tastes of sauce, and that was like old style Italian cooking with the big vats of tomato sauce.
Really
cooking.
Peasant style, earthy food.
Right. And she would make macaroni wrapped around the knitting needles and everything like that. So it was amazing. So this is basically.
This smells so good.
Ready to go. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of...
a little cheese?
A little fresh
a little Parmigiano on top.
Love this gadget. This is my favorite gadget here. So this is just the Reggiano, and just a little bit over the top.
I think it's really important, too, that people realize that you should use real, authentic Italian ingredients, right?
Absolutely. I think if you cheat yourself if you don't, you know. And Parmesan Reggiano, you know, there's a lot of substitutes out there, but if you don't use the real thing, and use salt. I didn't use much.
Very much, yeah.
You just need a little bit on there, and it really is fabulous. I mean, in fact, my favorite way to eat Parmesan is just like this, you know. Just
little
take a
chips
piece
of cheese. Do you mind sharing?
There you go. It is the best. I just love it. It's my favorite cheese in the world.
Okay.
Now.
So how long was that going to cook?
That'd probably go about 12 minutes or so. This is called Snake in the Grass or Rock and Bowl.
And
it's a wild garlic. And you have to go and really demand this from your local gardener, because you aren't going to find this in your local grocery store.
In other words, you have to have a little clout, right?
Yeah, you do have to have a little clout.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been working with lots of farmers locally, and this is one of the things that I wanted to. Yeah, it's
Alan, you really didn't mince them up. I thought you were going to do a mince, so you leave them in big pieces.
Big pieces, and just let it cook down in stews.
Just to give it a little bit of color and flavor. That's beautiful.
So just let that cook down.
Should we check on the frittata?
Yes, we'll check the frittata here. Pink silver and see. Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah. See, still looks a little creamy in the middle.
And fluffy looking.
Right, and that's what you want, because it kind of souffles just a little bit, not too much. And then this
beautifully browned. I love that because that's got just enough crispy texture.
I do. I like the contrast on your palate.
Okay, now how are we going to serve this up?
This is a nice non-stick pan. I hope this thing comes out. Let's see here.
I'll say 3 Hail Marys.
I think just shake it. There you go, and you can just slide it right out like that.
Beautiful.
Perfecto.
That's perfecto. Hey. I get to sample, don't I?
Absolutely.
Oh, first you got to put your garnish on.
Well, I would just put a little bit of this over the top. Give it a little crunch and a nice little...
This is like it belongs in a museum. So beautiful.
And what's nice is all these juices, and I just cook this
Yeah.
the olive oil. It cooks down to almost like it's somewhere between a green bean and asparagus.
Hey, who says leftovers can't be gorgeous? Look at this.
Little Parmigiano, and
This
then,
is Todd.
of course.
Stop! It's getting too good.
But it's okay if it's a little runny, because I like that creaminess too.
Oh, but look at that.
There's some from the...
Oh. Beautiful.
There.
Can I have a few of
Oh,
those
yes.
snakes
you
in the
need to have
grass?
some of those, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to. I don't know how you delicately eat those. I may just pick it up with my fingers.
Yes, absolutely. Put a
Okay.
couple of those there.
Well, buon appetito.